There's Will off to Westbury in the Camry with backup. I'm sure he'll be fine. I've told him to keep in touch and let us know what happens with the car from here. He does a little bit of trading himself, but he just wants to have a bit of fun with that. Maybe do some little local shows and stuff. So yeah, if he gets me across any pics, I'll share them with you. Back it over what you know is my absolutely favourite car, I think, my Suzuki Swift Sport, because this has now kind of unofficially become my loan car. It's going out on loan for a warranty claim, and that is it's my biggest warranty claim yet, and it has not come without problems. So I might go and get a coffee, have a sit down and tell you, because there's not a lot other to see about it, but I'll just fill you on what's happened. So I've opted for a Coke, not a coffee, because it's absolutely baking in here. So apologies for the sweaty mess that I am, and hence the cap and so forth. It's absolutely baking. So biggest warranty claim yet. And there's a twist to it as well, quite a big twist to it. So you might remember, some of you might remember if you watch the channel regularly, I bought a BMW 1 Series 1.6 diesel, so that's the twin turbo diesel, off of someone that came by the unit and wanted to downsize their car. Took away that little Corsa I got for a couple of £100 from a dealer, little black Corsa SXI, and they were working behind here and bombed back and forth every day, and that's been running fine as far as I'm aware. So I got that in, got it serviced. I'm going to put a picture up of the car now, so jog your memory. So that had 108,000 miles on it when I sold it. It ran really, really well. No problems with it at all. We did videos just driving it around, didn't we? I was saying how impressed I was with the grunt out of a 1.6 diesel. So all that was good. And we got it all ready for retail. Went down. I think it needed a new MOT, didn't it? Because the MOT was out of date. And its service history was patchy. So we did a service at the same time. Well, that car, like I say, that was sold, just let me remind myself again what the exact date was on that, so I'm being 100% accurate. That was sold on the 18th of the 2nd, 2023. So we're just, on the 18th of this month, we'll be up to 7 months on the sale of the car. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, 7 months on the sale of the car. And I've not heard anything about it in that time. No problems with it at all. But I had a phone call the other day to say that there's a rattling noise, and I actually got sent a video. Now, those of you that know would already be saying timing chain. These BMWs were renowned for timing chain issues because the plastic guides they used weren't very strong and they broke. And unfortunately, what they decided in wisdom to do was put the timing chain at the back of the engine. So in order to do a timing chain change, which on most cars will either be on the side of the engine or at the front, you've got to take the engine out to do the timing chain. I can only assume they never thought they were going to have a problem. As I understand it, the timing chains themselves don't stretch or break. It's only the plastic guides that do. So unfortunately, these messages started coming just as I landed in Greece for my holiday. So there wasn't an awful lot I could do. I know a lot of people just turn their phone off, but I'm a one-man band. I have to accept that the fact that I don't pay for staff and all this kind of stuff means that when I'm away, I'm never 100% away. I'm still going to have to monitor my phone. Plus, I did end up buying quite a lot of cars off people while I was on holiday as well, because sitting by the pool I had time to look at all the emails and respond. So yeah, the message came through. I'd literally just landed and I said, look, I listened to the video, thought myself timing chain, said just get it into the local garage, get it checked out, don't drive it anywhere other than to that garage, because apparently it was driving fine, it was just making this noise when you started up the car, and I think it must have been carrying on making noise from what I could hear, just obviously as you're driving, not less likely to notice it. So I said, oh, where shall I take it? I said, well, any garage, any local garage. You can take it to Moores, but you can take it to your local garage if you like. The shorter distance, the better. So he said, okay, I'll get it booked in. The next thing I heard, it was about a day later, he had it, took it to the local garage, Mr. Steve, shout out to Mr. Steve at Torrington. He had a look at it. Unfortunately, he's booked up for the next few weeks, but he had a look at it and said, well, your engine's running fine, you've got no engine management lights. He said, but I do think you've got something up with your timing chain. And but he couldn't take a look at it. So I got another message saying, well, yeah, this is what's happened, what can we do? So I said, well, perhaps get hold of the Moores guys and see if they can book you in. Okay. Do you want me to ring them? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm on holiday. I'm on holiday. I kind of need you to ring them. Now, obviously, when you're texting back and forth, you don't have a lot of space and room to say everything, and it's not as clear as a phone call. But then, so the messages were going back and forth while I sat by the pool. Anyway, so I managed to get Moores to have a look at it. When Moores had a look at it, they said that they also thought it was timing chain, but they didn't really have time to look at it now. It'd have to be kind of fit it in between everything else kind of job. So the guy messaged me and said, what do you want me to do? I said, well, it needs to be able to look at. I said, unless you want to carry on finding other garages that can do it quicker, that's kind of up to you. So, obviously, the thing with this is now, like I say, is in the back of, I think, both of our minds is who's going to be covering the bill on this, because we're now, like I say, 6 months in, nearly 7 months in with this car. And he did take an extended warranty out with warranty-wise. I gave 3 months free. He extended it out to a year. But what I always do with that is I don't actually mark up the warranties warranty-wise. If someone wants one, I sell it to them at the trade price. And I explain clearly the reason for that is I'm not in control of what they're going to authorise. If it was my warranty plan, I'd mark it up, but it's not. I'm not in control of it, so I don't want to make a profit out of it. If you want to extend it at fair play, I don't want to make a profit out of it, so I just sell it to you at trade price. So that's what I did here, and it took out actually a year's worth of warranty. Yeah, it was a year's worth of warranty. I say my standard was 3. Now, obviously, in the background to this, we've got the Consumer Rights Act, which does run for 6 months, but I think people misunderstand the Consumer Rights Act. They think that means for 6 months you're covered whatever goes wrong with your car. You're absolutely not. The Consumer Rights Act says that it's about faults that are at point of sale of the vehicle. The vehicle needs to be roadworthy, as described, fit for purpose. When it comes to a fault, the decision is, was that fault present at point of sale? Because what they're trying to do is cover dodgy dealers hiding faults on vehicles, selling not cars that aren't fit for purpose. They're not trying to say that if you buy a majorly old car or just an old car, that every component on it's going to be covered for 6 months, because that's insane. Dealers would have to mark up cars by, $3,000 clear profit to cover everything that could go wrong on these age cars. So warranties actually cover more than the Consumer Rights Act, because they give you a list of components that even if they do fail later on, say 3 months down the road, they'll fix, even though it could be considered they weren't a fault at point of sale. So a warranty does actually give you a higher level of cover than just the Consumer Rights Act, and plus you don't have to go through the hassle of going to court. So there is obviously in the back of, I imagine, both our minds, who's going to be picking up the bill on this. Because the Moores boys said, as I've said, that unfortunately the engine has to come out. Until they can decipher what's wrong with it, the engine has to come out of the car for them to inspect it. Now, it could then turn out that it could be the plastic guide that's broken, it could be the chain that's gone slack, it could be a number of other things. The thing with it is the warranty won't cover faults that are as a result of poor servicing, and this had a patchy service history. If a plastic guide breaks, then that is an unexpected breakage. But if the chain is slipping or a tension has gone, then that is due to oil pressure and poor servicing. And again, people say warranty companies don't pay out for anything. I don't think they can be expected to pay out for internal engine problems that could well have been caused by poor servicing. So in all honesty, if you are buying warranties and you're paying a premium for it, especially if you're paying a premium for those warranties, don't put them on cars that don't have a full service history. Don't get me wrong, there's still some value to the warranty, because like I say, it could cover an air conditioning condenser, it could cover a broken spring, it could cover a drive shaft. All these kind of things could be replaced on the warranty, and they don't relate to servicing because they're not servicing items. So you could still save quite a lot of money if they paid out for those repairs. But if you want it guaranteed on pretty much anything on the vehicle, then you really want something with a full service history. So yeah, at this point, by the time we got to here, I'm back off of holiday, but I'm still going back and forth on the messages. And what I'm saying as well is I'm saying whatever happens, whatever they find, because if they take the engine out and they find that it's something not covered by the warranty, they're going to be into the labour for taking the engine out and then put it back in again, presumably, even if they decide to bail at that point. But even if they do take it out and it's covered under warranty, it'll only be the parts that are broken. So if it was something like the plastic guide, then they have to decide, do they want to pay for a new timing chain kit? Because we all know it's best practice to do the timing chain kit, but the warranty company doesn't need to do that if it's only the plastic guide that's that's failed. Plus, you can now have the gearbox off the back of the engine, so you may as well put a clutch in while you're there. And again, they're not going to do that because the clutch hasn't failed. But if you then have to do the whole process again later on to put a clutch in, at this point, the garage is only going to charge you for the price of the clutch because they've got to put it all back together again. Hopefully, that makes sense. So we've had a conversation now. The issue with it is the thing that puts the fly in the ointment with this is I think I'm pretty confident in saying that under the Consumer Rights Act, I'm not on the hook for doing this repair. And I say that because I have loads of videos of that car running without that noise at all. I've got test drives without that noise. and it's taken 6 months for that noise to appear. So at this point, it's really down to the consumer to prove that that was a issue at point of sale, which it clearly wasn't. It's just happened during general use of the vehicle. And again, I can't give an as new warranty on a seriously old car. The issue with it is that this person is a friend. That's a fly in the ointment. And they've bought 3 cars off me. Now you might say they've had 3 cars off you, James. You'll have to bite the bullet and do it, which is fair enough. But the trouble is, being a friend, I gave them a discount on all 3 cars. And the discount I gave them across all 3 cars is more than enough to pay for the repair. But the reality is, if I do the repair, having given the discounted price, it's going to wipe out all the profit across all of the cars. I'll make nothing on them at all. And this is why I'd say to you, if you're in business, and it doesn't necessarily mean cars, don't discount for friends, because you're more likely to go over and above for a friend. They're more likely to come back to you for stuff than a total stranger. So by discounting, you actually put yourself in a worse position. You're better off keeping the money there. And then, I mean, with a car, I guess, keep the money there. And if, I was about to say, keep the money there. And then if they never claim anything, you'll be given something back. But in this case, if I'd done that on the last 2 cars, I'd have still lost out on this one. So that's the one that's what's put the fly in the ointment. I've had a conversation that explained to them all this stuff about, at the end of the day, theoretically under Consumer Rights Act, it's not covered. With the warranty, I've got the warranty policy here. I'd only cover it as a silver on warranty wise. If we go to the engine covers all major internal moving parts of the engine, including crankshaft, camshaft, pistons, connecting rods, balance shafts, oil pump, cylinder head, cylinder block liners, but excluding variable camshaft timing units, vanos, chains, sprockets. Okay, so they don't cover the chain. They've actually got as an exclusion on there as a chain. So I don't know if any of the policies actually cover. Let me just check the gold one. The gold would have technically covered the chain, but again, only if it had a full service history, I would imagine. Platinum. So basically, if you've got a car that would say warranty-wise is going to be below gold, then just respect that you're really not going to get anything internals-wise of the engine done. Unless you've got an absolutely full service history, even then you need to be gold or above. So he had a silver, his policy was silver, but again, like I said, I didn't mark it up, I didn't make any profit on the warranty either. So it would have covered, I think, if we have a look, I think it would have covered things like the turbos. Yeah, I think I did it on the basis that it would cover the turbos and it would cover the gearbox. It would cover parts of the clutch, a lot of the drive shaft, like the prop shafts, the centre bearings, and the drive shaft. I say drive shafts. It covers the steering rack and wheel bearings. So it does cover, like I say, warranties do cover a hell of a lot more than the Consumer Rights Act does. But unfortunately there, it's specifically excluding the one problem that this car's had, and probably the one problem we know most BMWs are most prone to. So again, warranty companies are the same as new car companies. They'll only really cover things like that on cars that are very young with low mileages that have full histories. So anyway, he's turning up in a minute. We're going to have a chat. He'll probably let me do it on camera because you'll know him as soon as you see him, guys. Anyway, comment down below. I'm interested so far what your thoughts are on this. Like I say, this is going to be the biggest. It's not theoretically a warranty claim because it's not under a warranty with me, but it is the biggest claim I've had so far, and it could literally, I say, wipe out the profit across 3 cars, and we're not going to really know what the score is until the engine comes out. The other problem is he's without a car while it's being done, so I've had to clean up the Suzuki Swift, and that's become like the unofficial, my beloved Suzuki Swift Sport has become the unofficial loan car of Chop's Garage, so I've had to also hand that over so he isn't without a car while it's being looked at. Like I say, until the engine's out, we're really not what the score is, but anyway, he's going to turn up in a minute and I'll catch up with you again then. So anyway, the guy with the car has come over now, he's just turned up in fact, and we're going to have it out as to exactly what I am and I'm not paying for. So I'm actually going to record this for you guys as well and let you know the score. And some of you by now might know what a troublesome idiot it is that I've got to deal with. Come on then, let's have it out then.
He's here now, he's walking up to the car. See you in a bit, Bab. Alright, love you. I'll tell him. Yeah, I'll tell him. For God's sake. You and your fucking cars.
What's your problem?
Listen, first you sold me a Ratmobile, then you sold me daughter some dodgy 500 thing. I don't know if that's 8 cars in one or something. Then you sold me that bloody BM. It's knackered. Engine's got to come out.
Now,
What
comments,
do you do? You just want to video it and think it's funny.
comments down
Comments
below,
down below if you think
as to
James
whether
is a
the
nightmare.
problem is me or the problem is him and his family.
So I put the rat in there and I've broke the BMW.
Well, you managed to be fair. You've had the
Yeah.
BMW for like nearly 6 months. You've clearly ragged the crap out of it, haven't you?
Jeez, I'm camped here. I ain't leaving until you fix
Till
my
you get
car.
your, or get your money back, presumably.
And we're sleeping in this van until you fix it, or I get a full refund. And I want that electric bike thrown in for a good gesture.
Righto, guys, we've clearly got to sort this out, so I'm gonna have to catch you on the next
Off
one.
camera.
Thanks for watching.